I've spent my whole life trying to be a good person. Not perfect, not a saint, just somebody who's trying to do the right thing. I've shown up for people, I've kept my word, I stayed loyal, and I even helped when I didn't have to. And for a long time, I genuinely believed that if I gave those things, I'd receive them also. Or I'd receive them back from the people I gave it to. But what I've learned is that in this life, it doesn't work like that. Being good doesn't guarantee you'll be treated good. Being loyal doesn't guarantee loyalty from the people you're loyal to. And being honest does not guarantee honesty. One of the hardest lessons I've learned is that nobody signed that agreement in my head that said, if I'm good to people, they'll be good back to me. Today, we're talking about loyalty, expectation, trust, and the lessons life teaches you when you realize not everybody thinks the way you do, and not everybody has the same mindset as you. The first thing we're going to be talking about is the contract that nobody signed. So, I think many of us walk through life carrying an invisible contract. And we never say it out loud, but it usually sounds something like this. It's more of a contract that is in our minds, and it's like, if I show up for someone, they'll show up for me. If I respect you, you'll respect me. If I help you, you'll help me. And if I'm loyal to you, you'll be loyal as well. However, the problem is nobody agreed to those terms. We usually tend to project our values onto other people, and we assume those standards that we have are universal, which usually they aren't, and we also assume that people think like us and have the same mindset as us. Again, something that isn't really universal as we think. So we all walk around with that invisible contract in our mind, thinking that if we do good, we'll receive good from the people we showed that kindness to. One of the biggest mistakes you can make is in assuming other people have the same conscience as you. Because Lord knows in this lifetime, they don't. They really don't. And how many times have you been disappointed because you expected someone to think like you and they didn't? A simple example is, you might be the type of person that when you go to the grocery, when you line in with all your friends, you might be one of those that would buy snacks for everyone. However, nobody else is of that same mindset. When they go, they will just buy for themselves. They don't think about everyone else. They won't do the same thing as you, right? So that's one of the things that you need to kind of be wary of, because not everybody is going to think like you and have that mindset. The other thing is the people you help most. Now, this lesson hurts because sometimes the people you invest the most in become the first people to disappear. And what I mean by that is the people you share opportunities with, or the people you might give a drop home sometimes or give a ride to, you know, the time you're covered for them or you stick up for them, the sacrifices you make for them, things like that. Those people usually, you know, tend to disappear first. And what I mean by that is, how do I say this? At first, when it happens, you would think that those people are bad. And now I think to myself after those experiences that they weren't necessarily bad. They were taking advantage of what was available and made available to them or for them. That means the relationship meant one thing to me, while to them it meant something completely different. So, again, this is simple as people you would go a mile for, the simplest terminology. People you would go a mile for wouldn't go an inch for you. And it's not because they're bad, but it's because, this was given to them and they took it, and they just didn't feel like offering the same thing for you to take. So that's one thing. Some people are attached to your support and what you can do for them, and not necessarily you. Um, I've experienced this with many people, especially at university level. Uh, I remember there was one person particularly. I helped them during COVID when I was home after I finished my degree. I helped them get A's in all their exams, and now we don't even talk anymore. But they used that opportunity, you know, because I was being a good friend. But to them, it was just an easy thing to get because I was too kind and too friendly and willing to help, because that's just my nature when you're my friend, and they used that to their advantage. The next thing we'll jump into is one that is a little bit weird to phrase up, but it's simply good men stay too long. And this is where the episode will get a little bit deeper, because a good man can become his own worst enemy, not because he's good, but because he stays too long. Prime examples of this, the one that I mentioned before with me helping friends to pass exams, that was staying in a one-sided friendship. So that's example one. Example two is staying in a one-sided relationship. Next example would be staying in situations that clearly aren't being reciprocated. So again, this will still cover everything: friendships, relationships, everything. There's a quote, it goes a little bit something like this: a man who expects goodness in return will keep giving long after he should stop, because he's still trying to earn a response that was never coming. And if we're going to expand on that a little bit, he's not really, if you look at it, he's not really helping anymore. He's chasing some form of validation. He's chasing proof that his efforts mattered, and he's chasing a reward that doesn't exist. So some friends might be looking out at it and at him of saying, "Hey, you help your friend say, oh, you're a real good friend. Thanks for the help." Or your partner, you might be looking for something where your partner be like, "Oh, you're a good partner. That was very thoughtful of you." Things like that. But you're not always going to get those responses. Again, there are people who just look for the opportunity that is presented to them to take it. They don't really care about it because, again, it's one sided. And you already decided in your mind you wanted to be there for them, but they used it to their advantage. The next thing we'll discuss now is the people who called you good. So, the people who called me a good man the loudest were sometimes the people who expected me to tolerate the most. Now, why? And how do we expand on that? So, First off is, do I? And that's because good people become predictable. People know what to expect out of you. They know you'll forgive them. They know you'll understand where they're coming from. They know you're understanding with everything they do. They know you'll be patient, and they know you'll stay. No matter what it is, they know you're a good person. You're not going nowhere. You could do me what? You'll still be there. But again, some people don't appreciate your loyalty. They rely on it. They use you again, and they rely on your loyalty, but they have none to you. And that's just how the world works sometimes. Again, it doesn't mean that person is bad. Now, not saying they are or are not, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are. Yeah? And trust isn't naivety either, because good people often tend to confuse kindness with weakness, loyalty with self sacrifice, and trust with blind trust. Being guarded isn't bitterness, it's wisdom. Being selective isn't cruel or cruelty, it's being mature, it's maturity. So you can be kind, you can be loving, you could be a great friend, but you could still have boundaries. You could be loyal and still walk away. You could love people and still, most importantly, protect your peace. Those are some of the things life teaches you, but even though life teaches you it, it's not something that you'll expect to learn. Uh, it is a lesson, or these are lessons you would prefer to be taught in a sense, but you aren't taught. You learn it by force because these things happen to all of us. Now, I still believe in loyalty. I still believe in helping people. I still believe in keeping my word. None of that changed. If I promise someone I'll do something, I will do it. If I say I'll do something, I'll do it. If I am helping you, it's genuine. I expect nothing in return. And I still give my loyalty if I consider you a friend. What has changed though is my expectation. I don't help people because I expect something in return. I help them because that's who I choose to be. If they appreciate it, fine, great. If they don't, that's just information to keep for the next time. Not heartbreak, just information. It doesn't hurt to be kind, it doesn't hurt to be loyal. However, it is wise to know who you are doing these things for or with. Because again, trust isn't naivety, but use it to grow and be better and learn so you don't make the same mistakes with the same people or different people again. Yeah? Now, I don't regret being loyal. I don't regret helping people. I don't regret showing up. Those things helped shape me to be who I am. What I regret again is expecting everyone else to value the same things I did and to value it the way I did. Um, the lesson wasn't to stop being good. The lesson was to stop expecting goodness to be returned. And that's because the moment you stop expecting everyone to be like you start seeing people for who they really are. And that tends to change everything around you and how you see life. Yeah. So those are just some of the things that we have to pay attention to. Because again, you can be the most amazing person out here. But to some, they don't value you as much as you value them. So you might see that as your best friend or your friend group, and to them, they don't value you the way you value them, you know? So, just some things to think about, some food for thought. Um, Usually we talk about a variety of things here, and this is just one of those things that, people tend to shy away from because they don't want to call people out on things like this. Or some people do the inner look back, and in retrospect and hindsight, they realize, oh, that was a learning experience. And, you know, sometimes it changes people. Sometimes they remain good and they remain who they are, which is absolutely okay. Everybody is entitled to react and act how they choose. And again, we can't go around expecting people to have the same mindset as us and to think the way we do. You are you, they are they. Understand? So, again, you just do what you have to do. You do it from the bottom of your heart, in goodwill and good conscience. And, life has a funny, funny way of returning those things to you. Because we like to say karma is real, life is a circle, things like that. So I believe in do good, good returns to you. It may not be from the people you expected it from, but it will return to you eventually. Um, so yeah, don't let people bring you down and change you from being a good person if that genuinely is who you are. Be you, stay true to you, but as I said, be mindful. Not everyone is going to be you and think like you. Yeah? So, with that being said, this was a short episode, but this was episode 8 of Trini Talks. Those were some of the life lessons that, nobody teaches you, nobody tells you about, but we here, we discussing things like this. Even though this episode was a quick, short episode, we can look forward to our next episode. This episode was a little bit shorter because work, busy schedule, things like that. So I tried to keep it short and sweet. But I enjoy making these. Again, I'm a yapper. I come on here and yap because why not? So yeah, if you all enjoyed anything I had to say, be sure to hit like, hit subscribe, add to favorites, whatever else you want to do. Leave a comment, drop something down below. Your choice, you do what you want to do. I don't expect anything. But yeah, I'll be here for episode 9, yapping away again. And until then, I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.